Ravens fans, what a game that was. We had victory in our hands, leading by 10 points in the fourth quarter, and suddenly everything fell apart. It's hard to believe how we let this happen. The defense couldn't hold up, the offense stalled, and before we knew it, the Raiders made their comeback. In this video, I'll break down every detail of this unbelievable turnaround and what went so wrong for the Ravens. And if you think it was frustrating, wait until you hear what's coming next. Stick with me till the end, because we need to discuss how the team can bounce back after this bitter loss. Go Ravens! Imagine being up by 10 points in the final quarter and feeling like the win is almost guaranteed. That was exactly the Ravens situation with the game under control. Everything seemed to be going well until the team started making crucial mistakes. A 3-and-out from the offense and a punt that gave the Raiders great field position changed everything. The defense, which had been holding strong, couldn't stop them anymore and watched as the lead slipped away. It was like watching something that was guaranteed disappear in minutes. The Raiders seized every opportunity. With a field goal, just over 3 minutes left, they tied the game. The Ravens offense got back on the field but couldn't advance, forcing a punt. And then the worst happened. The Raiders got the ball in an excellent position, and Daniel Carlson, who was perfect on the day, made a 38-yard field goal with just 27 seconds left. What seemed like a certain win turned into a bitter 26-23 loss, a tough blow for the Ravens. This turnaround was even more shocking because the Raiders had lost 49 straight games when trailing by 10 or more points in the fourth quarter. Now, that streak was broken against Baltimore, leaving a historic mark on the team. And this unexpected loss raises a bigger question. How did the Ravens, who were in such a comfortable position, let this turnaround happen? This leads us to understand the impact of this historic loss that the Raiders achieved over the Ravens. This loss was hard to swallow, especially since the Raiders had been on a terrible streak. They had lost 49 straight games when down by 10 or more points in the fourth quarter. In other words, the probability of Baltimore winning was extremely high. But still, the Ravens' defense couldn't hold the opposing offense in the critical moments. What seemed like a comfortable win turned into a historic turnaround. Letting a game like this slip away is the kind of thing that affects a team's psyche. What makes it even more frustrating is that the Ravens had chances to secure the win. All they needed was to hold onto the ball and advance down the field. But the offense didn't perform when it was most needed. Every mistake, whether on offense or defense, was a step closer to letting the Raiders back into the game. And when the ball returned to the Raiders, their confidence grew. Daniel Carlson was flawless, making 4 field goals in the game, including 2 over 50 yards. When he had the chance to change the score, he didn't miss. This broken streak puts the Ravens in a delicate position. Besides dealing with the pain of the loss, the team now has to handle the weight of allowing the Raiders to break such a negative record. The question is, what does this mean for the rest of the season? Now, the focus shifts to Lamar Jackson's performance, who had a solid game but wasn't enough to avoid the disaster. Lamar Jackson is always the guy Ravens fans rely on to make, and in this game, he had a decent performance, but it was clear that it wasn't enough to secure the win. With 247 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception, he kept the team in the game for a good while. Additionally, he ran for 48 yards, showing he's still a threat both with his arms. But in the crucial moments, the magic we're used to seeing from him was missing. At the end of the game, with only 27 seconds left, Lamar and the offense tried a desperate play full of laterals, hoping to reach the end zone. It was the last chance, but they didn't even get close to the 20-yard line. It was frustrating to see the team so close to victory, but unable to capitalize in the most critical moments. His performance, while solid, didn't shine enough when the pressure was at its peak. The Ravens' offense simply couldn't find answers against the Raiders' defense in the final minutes. Now, with Lamar leading the offense, the Ravens need to find ways to be more consistent in critical moments. His connection with Zay Flowers was one of the positives of the game, but the team will need much more than that to turn the page. Speaking of connections, Zay Flowers put on a show in this game, showing he might be the missing piece for the Ravens offense to really take off. Zay Flowers was one of the standout players for the Ravens, even in the loss. The rookie showed that he could become one of the team's key offensive weapons this season. He had 7 receptions for 91 yards and scored the Ravens' only receiving touchdown. On a day when things didn't flow as they should, Flowers showed that he has the potential to shine. His speed and ability to create separation made a difference, and it's clear that Lamar Jackson is starting to trust him. In addition to his consistent performance, what impressed was Flowers' maturity in such an important game. Even though it's his first season, he wasn't intimidated and made big plays when the team needed them. His ability to create explosive plays will be essential for the Ravens' offense to move forward. If the team can improve its offensive consistency, with Flowers standing out, the Ravens have a chance to quickly bounce back in the season. However, Zay Flowers can't carry the team alone. While the offense showed flashes of good football, the defense needs to improve, especially in the final moments of games. With Odafe Oweh and Kyle Van Noy leading the pressure on the quarterback, the Ravens need to find a balance between offense and defense. But will the defense be able to make a difference in the upcoming games? Even with the loss, the defensive effort shouldn't be overlooked, especially when talking about Odafe Oweh and Kyle Van Noy. These two were true nightmares for the Raiders' offense. Oweh had 2.5 sacks, while Van Noy added 2 more, putting a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback. The Ravens' defense did what it could to keep the team in the game, especially in the first half when things were more balanced. The problem is that in the second half, the defensive consistency started to wane. The big challenge was that, despite all this pressure on the quarterback, the Ravens couldn't stop the Raiders' offense in the critical moments. The pass rush was working, but the secondary fell short, allowing long plays that helped the Raiders maintain control in crucial moments. This raises an important question. What's the point of pressuring the quarterback if the defense can't stop the big plays when it matters? Of course, it's not just the defense's fault, but this imbalance was fatal for the Ravens. With a defense that can pressure the quarterback well, but fails in coverage, the team needs to find a way to adjust this dynamic quickly. Because in the next game, the challenge will be even greater as the Ravens face the Dallas Cowboys. The question remains, can Baltimore reorganize in time to avoid repeating the same mistakes against an even tougher opponent? Now, the Ravens need to bounce back quickly because the next opponent won't make things easy. The Dallas Cowboys are strong this season, and playing away against such a well-adjusted team will be a big test. Baltimore's defense will need to find solutions to avoid repeating the mistakes made against the Raiders. If the quarterback pressure remains strong, as it was with Odafe Oweh and Kyle Van Noy, the key will be to improve secondary coverage and avoid the long plays that proved costly in the last game. Additionally, the Ravens' offense will need to be more efficient. Lamar Jackson posted good numbers, but there was a lack of consistency in critical moments. Against the Cowboys, this margin for error is even smaller, and the offense will need to find ways to move down the field and finish plays more accurate. Relying on Zay Flowers is one of the hopes, but the entire team needs to be more connected for opportunities to be turned into points. This game against Dallas is a golden opportunity for the Ravens to show they're still a competitive team. An away win could be exactly what the team needs to regain confidence and get back on track for the season. And now, with this gigantic challenge ahead, what will the Ravens do to turn things around and prove they're capable of overcoming adversity? This game could define a lot about the team's future in the season. So, Ravens fan, what did you think of this unexpected turnaround? It was a game of highs and lows, and unfortunately, we ended up empty-handed. The question now is how the team will recover and show that it has what it takes to turn the season around. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the Ravens need to change to avoid another heartbreaking loss? And don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the team's journey this season.